It's time for the Spoony One! Wrestling Show! It's time for the Spoony One! Wrestling Show!
I know it sounds like I say this every week, but I kind of didn't want to do this show for a lot of reasons, actually. One is I'm unwell. I have been for a while. I'm actually feeling a lot better than I was now, but I'm still getting tests done, and yeah. So I haven't been doing well. Let's just leave it at that. Thanks for everyone for the well wishes, though. It really means a lot. Actually, it really keeps me going a lot to know that you guys actually care. So thank you. And I don't want to get into what it is. It has to do with my heart condition, and it's a bad situation. It's a lot of fatigue, a lot of feeling like I'd almost call it like anxiety attacks or stress attacks, but actually I'm really not that stressed. I'm at a really good point in my life. You know, I'm actually really comfortable with my work schedule. It's hard to describe. It's a lot of things. So don't just chalk it up to like anxiety attacks or stress or something like that. It's not that simple. And yeah, I went to the emergency room. I was feeling really bad. Actually, what was happening was the fingers in my left hand were going numb, and my toes, my left toes were going numb, and that was kind of scary. Doing okay now though. The other reason is, I'm really busy because I actually stopped doing my Highlander the Source review. I realized I hadn't planned anything for Halloween, and so I spent like a day agonizing over what I wanted to do for Halloween. Like, should I keep doing the nightmare stuff? And I was like, fuck it. The nightmare thing seemed like a good idea at first because the videos were funny. And so I saw like 2 really funny videos, but the rest of the videos are really not that funny, and so it would really just be the same thing over and over and over again, and I don't think people were exactly clamoring for more nightmare. It'd be funny to check out, and I might go back and kind of show clips every once in a while, but as a focus, I have a lot. My time is at a premium, and I wanted to spend my time on a lot more funnier stuff, and so like Highlander, I'm doing that. But I do have a new review planned for Halloween, and actually it was so obvious, I don't know why I didn't think of it. It's actually a curse I have where I have actually way too many choices. It's not like I have no choices, I have so many to pick from. Something has to call to me, something really finally did call to me, and so I'm going to do that. Unless I finally finish watching what I'm doing, and it doesn't turn out it's going to be that good. So, but Bound for Glory. I'm not going to go back and go over the two, I think it's 2 impacts that I missed while I was sick. Just because if I did that, I would probably develop an ulcer from which I would never recover. Suffice to say, they were bad. And suffice to say, nothing really got accomplished. You know, it was a whole sorts of they and 10, 10, 10. It was all bad. Trying to stay hydrated. So, Bound for Glory. When I saw this pay-per-view, I really was bored. I wasn't angry. I wasn't all fired up. I wasn't stressed out. And it wasn't because I was sick. I watched that pay-per-view, and I just went, I feel like I've already seen it felt like I was watching the pay-per-view for the second time, because it was, I'm not saying this like I'm a smart guy, I'm too smart for this stuff, like I like everyone always says, like, oh, it's predictable. It felt like I'd watched this show before because it was so fucking predictable. Like, I must know Impact so well now, where I just like when I read the card, and I imagined in my head every single match, and, pardon me, I imagined in my head what each match would be like, and the entire show played out exactly, like, line for line, move for move, the way it did in my head. Like, it was exact. Honest to God, if you projected my thoughts onto the screen, you would have seen Bound for Glory. It was that dull. Sorry, I'm kind of nervous. I got my computer like right here, so I really don't want to spill my drink on it. So I'm being careful. So, and here's the other thing. I was not feeling well when I saw Bound for Glory, of course, and so I was watching it along with Sean Faust and a bunch of other people on Lord Cat stream, and so I forgot to take notes, which may or may not be a good thing. So this won't be exactly as comprehensive as you might hope. And I honestly missed a lot of the commentary and the finer points because I was bullshitting with everyone else. We were getting Civ 5 ready. And honestly, if you were ever forced to watch a TNA show, it's really best to suffer with a group. It's really bad when you're a guy like me and you watch Impact most times alone because you can't find anyone stupid and deluded enough to go watch Impact with you. When you watch it alone, it's just like it's just solitude. I mean, of course, it's solitude, but it's amplified. Like, you have time to think. You're not talking to anybody. You are absolutely focused on Impact, and you're thinking. Like, when you stop and actually think about what you're seeing, it's 1,000 times worse. When you're laughing and bullshitting with friends, you're not thinking about it, so the effect is really diluted. So, the first match was really good. And it was Generation Me versus the Motor City Machine Guns. And they just let them go out there and kick the shit out of each other. And it was awesome. And so that actually was probably the best way they could have opened the show. They did great. It was two really talented tag teams. And of course, when it was over, you knew it was downhill from there. Because, as I believe, the Knockouts title match was next. The Fatal 4-Way for the Knockouts title. With Pirate Whore, Madison Rain, Velvet Sky, and Tara? I'm saying Tara. Victoria, whatever you want to call it. And here's the problem. There's a lot of problems. I could come out and say that they can't wrestle. They can't. I could say the match was bad. It was. And it was really, really bad. I could say the booking of the match was stupid, and it was. It was really, really stupid. In fact, I still don't know what the fuck they were doing. This was a Fatal 4-Way match, and for some reason, the rules of this Fatal 4-Way were, there's two women in the ring wrestling, and the other two stand in the corners and have to be tagged in a Fatal 4-Way match. I don't even know how that works. It doesn't work. It didn't work. And to describe the shit that went on in this ring, I mean, none of these women can wrestle. Except Mickie James, ironically. And Mickie James is the special guest referee. I don't know. So, Tara wins the title in a way that I can only describe as winning the title by accident. She, like, somebody was in the ropes, she waist-locked them, they rolled, and all of a sudden Tara kind of, like, fell on top and got the 3, and she was like, I won, like, and then, who cares? You know, and so, here's really the thing that gets me keyed up, like, it would be one thing if, like, it's not easily fixed that they can't wrestle. Just fire them, of course, but I guess the knockouts thing can be mitigated by the fact, like, you could say, like, well, they're just there to look hot. All right. The characters. Okay, I'll just get to it. The characters are horrible because they're all the same character. And I'm really not trying to overgeneralize this. They're all the same. All of them. They're all heels. Even the baby faces in this match are heels. Why? Because last week they had a tag match, to determine who would own the naming rights and music to the Beautiful People. Because God knows we couldn't live without the title and that fucking horrible music that goes. Of course, we had to have that. That was worth fighting for. That horrible fucking music. I would have fought and bled for that shit. But they're all heels. They were fighting for the right to be the heel group. So even though Pirate Whore and Velvet Sky are supposedly the good guys who oppose Madison Rain, they're still bitches. They're like nothing about them has changed. Like the beautiful people are still a group that act like bitches. They act smug and superior to all other women. They consider themselves more beautiful than all other people, hence the name. And their motto, their raison d'etre, is the fact that they hate ugly people. It's still in the video, cleansing the world one ugly person at a time. They hate ugly people. They're all about beauty. So like even like Pirate Whore and Velvet Sky are still about. They're still the beautiful people. Like they just hate the other two bitches. And I'm not saying that. I'm not calling women like that's their characters. They're bitches. They admit that they're bitches. They call each other bitches. They call each other sluts, whores. They admit that they're bitches. They like I'm a mean bitch, and so like they all like even ODB is like one dirty bitch. Like it blows my mind that there's nothing even resembling like even Mickey James is coming back and she's basically a bitch. I can't even. Miss Tessmacher she like every time she comes out, she's supposedly a babyface manager, but she comes out on the ramp and she's like, all you skanks and bitches are gonna learn that I'm the queen bitch around here, and you're gonna fight for this title. There's not gonna be any like kitty grab ass ring around the rosy musical chair shit in this ring. All you bitches are gonna wrestle, and like I'm not even kidding, you know. So and it's really hard to be a babyface manager, by the way, when you actually punctuate almost every sentence of your promos with ominous maniacal laughter. She's like, this isn't going to be any tag match. Oh no. Like, she's supposed to be, at least at that point, she was. And, oh, here's the other thing. Like, I will go back and cover, Jesus Christ. It's all flooding back. Like, last week on Impact, they have this meeting among all the knockouts where they set up the Fatal 4-Way. And I swear to God, this entire segment was like 7 minutes of just incomprehensible, rambling, high-pitched crosstalk where there was no distinct sentences or vocabulary. It was like, and whenever they argue, they all, it's like... Imagine that, only more annoying, multiplied by 6. It's like walking into a fucking kennel full of nothing but chihuahuas. All the fucking time with this. So, like, after 7 minutes of this, I'm just ready to just, like... You know, I'm already sick. I'm just... Oh, my head. And so Miss Tessmacher, she's like, just get out. All you bitches get out. And so all the bitches get out. And then she gets a call. Speaking of, so am I. I'm getting a text. And so she picks up her phone. And she goes, hello? Oh, yeah. Oh, no, it's nothing. I'm fine. 20 minutes? The usual? All right. And then she puts the phone down, and she's looking at her, she's like, yeah. And, like, because she's a prostitute. The manager of the Knockouts division is a high-class prostitute. There's no way to spin this. Like, she just agreed on camera, on national TV, international TV, to have sex with somebody for money. In the Impact Zone in 20 minutes. Because she's a whore. They're all heels. Why would you pay for that? Honest to God, in this day and age, we live in an age saturated with porn. If I want, I can type the word porn, and porn will appear. The Knockouts are not compelling enough for me to pay for a pay-per-view to watch them give each other tepid, not at all sexual, barely lesbianic kisses in the ring. Like, that does not titillate me in the least. If I want to see siliconed up whores that don't talk, that don't bitch nearly as much as this, I can find it with barely a second's effort. Okay? This... You gotta give me something. You gotta give me some reason to watch these chicks. Like, I'm not even trying to be sexist here. Like, if that's the reason they're here, is eye candy, they better show some titties. Like, they better just shut the fuck up and jiggle. Because if that's the reason, okay, fine, I don't agree with, I accept it, but I certainly don't pay to see them act. I certainly don't pay to see them wrestle. No. I'm not in this for the plot development in any way. Jesus Christ. I gotta calm down. Next match. I don't even think this was announced, which would have been a good change. X Division Championship. Jay Lethal versus Douglas Williams. Good match. This was another good match. I really not much. Like, seriously, if they just let the good wrestlers wrestle, this would be so much of a better show. And when it comes down to it, whenever the wrestling, like, the title match at the very end was really good. You had 3 good wrestlers wrestling well. And, you know, after effect, like, that's all you ask. When you fuck it up is when you, like, overbook this shit. And you make it so complicated. And it doesn't need to be complicated. Wrestler A has a title. Wrestler B wants the title. The plot kinda writes itself. You know? It doesn't need to be this hard. They make it so hard. What else? Oh, Jesus. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about... Oh, fuck. Alright. The next match. And I know it's so hard to resist just leaving the room when I say this. Stay there. Orlando Jordan and Eric Young, stay. Versus Inc. Inc. A name I still can't say without throwing up a little. For those of you who don't know, and how could you? How could you know? Unless you watched Explosion, a show so obscure and bullshit, I don't know where to find it. I don't care to find it. I will never review. And you know what the sad part is? I kind of review this shit as a job. And I won't watch it. Oh, man. Who watches Explosion? Okay, so if you don't know, the gimmick is Eric Young, the former leader of the premier heel faction in TNA, the World Elite, at some point on Explosion had a match in which he fell from the top rope, I believe, to the outside of the ring and hit his head and sustained a severe concussion. And now, instead of being retired due to injury or recuperating from his severe acknowledged brain injury, he's still wrestling. But he's stupid. He's retarded now. He's got brain damage, and it's funny. In this day and age, in the age of Chris Benoit, who murdered his wife and child, for reasons which is believed to be accumulated brain trauma over the years. I'm not kidding. In an age where concussions are never taken more seriously than they are right now in the NFL. In an age when we finally recognize the severity and consequences of multiple severe concussions, we have Eric Young, whose gimmick is that he's brain damaged and funny. He is, honest to God, he is one mop away from being Perry Saturn. And to cap off this tag team, the wonderful tag team, is Orlando Jordan, whose gimmick is, and once again, I'm not kidding, his gimmick is that he is a bisexual... He's a bisexual rapist. I'm not saying that because bisexuals are rapists. I'm saying that he is bisexual, and when he is in the ring, he basically sexually assaults men and women against their will. Well, of course it would be you know what I mean. He gets into the ring, and when he goes for a body slam, you have to pick the guy up under the leg. Basically, you have to loop your arm under his leg and under his groin. He does this, but he basically grabs their marbles and like just worry balls, or like when he gets someone in the corner, he backs his ass into them in the corner and like rubs his ass up and down. He's like, yeah. Or like his pin covers. When he pin covers you, he teabags you. He literally rests his balls on the guy's lips. And that's his pin cover. And he's teamed up with Eric Young, the brain damaged idiot. So, right there, that's the match. I don't even know how to describe. Like, yeah, maybe I should lighten up and say like, oh, it was a comedy match. This was so stupid. Eric Young brought the TNA rulebook, which was basically a leather-bound black journal that he bought from Barnes & Noble that day with white sticker letters saying TNA rulebook on it. Because I don't know. And the gimmick behind this match was, the story that was being told was, he's so brain damaged that he regularly and often forgets who his tag team partner is. He on several occasions blatantly attacked his own partner, switched corners with Shannon Moore, I believe, tagged in as one of the other tag teams, and then for like 2 minutes ran wild on his own partner before they finally lost. This is so stupid. Lethal Lockdown. And once again, this is another time where I so don't care about... I probably went on about this at length, where you have a real problem here. Actually, I said this about Nexus. The whole problem with the Nexus is that you build up this team as a serious threat, as the most serious threat, actually, for a long... Like, they really put those guys over as, like, the most dire threat the WWE has ever faced in years. And the problem you face with the Nexus is when you do that, eventually they have to wrestle. And they can't. They suck. The people know they suck. And there's really no way to hide the fact that they suck, because they suck. That's not like you can't get a cortisone shot for that. You still suck. And that's kind of the problem with EV2. When you got EV2 in the ring, and you got wrestlers the caliber of Fortune, who are awesome wrestlers, the EV2 guys look old, washed up, broken, and pathetic. So, like, at no point when they get in the ring with Fortune, who are athletes in their prime, who look fantastic, who are, by and large, far superior athletes, you put them in the ring with these old ECW washouts, and you're like, this isn't even a fight. Like, it's so, like, there's suspension of disbelief. Like, Mick Foley gets in the ring, and, like, at some, when Mick Foley was Cactus Jack, you're like, that dude is fucking ugly, he's out of shape, or even better, like, Big Van Vader. When Vader got in the ring, you're like, that is one ugly fucking fat dude, but he looked like he'd fucking kill you. Like, that was like, if you're going for that hardcore street style, they better look fucking brutal, and they don't. Like, Raven looks like the fucking Crypt Keeper. And the best athlete they got in there right now is probably fucking Stevie Richards, and that's what set me off first. And I got into an argument with some guys in the chat room, because apparently I remembered it wrong. But the Lethal Lockdown is essentially a War Games match from WCW, where you have like 2 teams of 4 or 5 guys, and they have staggered entry. And in War Games, you can only win by submission, I believe, or knockout. You could win by knockout. So this match starts, and it's Stevie Richards against, I think, James Storm. I think it was one of Beer Money. And so they get in the ring and they wrestle for like 2-3 minutes, however long it takes for them to get in there. But it's 1-on-1 at this point. And Stevie puts him in some kind of leg choke, like he wraps his legs around the guy's throat and starts choking him. And I swear to God, this guy starts tapping out. Like he's getting choked out, so he taps. And they go, well, he's tapping out, but there's no decisions until everyone gets in the ring. And I was like, I don't know, that blew my mind. That flabbergasted me. Like there's no eliminations until everyone's in the ring. For some reason, and again, I will fully admit that I'm full of shit on this one, I don't remember that. In WCW War Games, I don't remember that ever coming up, where there were no eliminations until everyone was in the ring. That was, I saw that, and I saw the guy tapping out. I was like, he tapped, he won the match. Or like, he eliminated that guy, and they're like, nope, not till everyone's in the ring, man, I must have just blocked that little factoid out, and I didn't believe it until I looked it up. And apparently that's how it works. But you know what might have been? If there was ever a time when they were put in a position where somebody would be legitimately beaten to the point where they could have been pinned or submitted or something like that, I don't think it ever came up in the WCW War Games matches. Ever. So, this match was bad. I hated this match. I hated it so bad. It was just a clusterfuck. You know, like, they fought, and they fought pointlessly for probably 10 minutes because there's no decisions until everyone gets in the ring. So basically you're just watching a bunch of people brawl, and then the cage, they seal the cage, and there's a roof with weapons on it. And so then they all just grab a weapon and they all start just hitting each other. It's like every shitty WWF hardcore match you ever, like it was just a bunch of old guys shambling around, waffling each other with cookie sheets. There was no continuity to it. There was no wrestling to it. It was just bad. And of course the cage didn't hold up, because as soon as the cage door gets locked, somebody gets thrown through the door and they all climb on top of the cage and start wrestling there for no reason. I guess the reason is there's some weapons. There's like a table up on top of the cage. Of course they set the table up and somebody goes to the table. But like, why? I don't know. And I'm told somebody pointed this out, and I missed it. And I don't know how I missed it, because apparently this was the most obvious thing in the world. I must have been talking. I must have been just fuming about the whole submission thing. But apparently there was a time in this match where Ric Flair is on the outside of the ring. He's not in the match, but he brawls with Mick Foley on a couple of occasions, because whenever somebody goes in the door, the team's kind of gathered near the door, and they start... What? They start gathering near the door, and Rick and Mick start fighting. And so, apparently there was a time where Rick is like... He's like, ah! He's doing his woo thing. But apparently he was on camera, and blatantly in front of the camera, he just takes a razor blade and goes... right in front of the camera, he blades. I don't know how I missed that. I almost want to go see it again, because that is unbelievable. Like, honestly, Rick doesn't need to blade. He just does that and he blades, you know. But apparently he bladed like fucking crazy. So the finish comes, again, predictable as all hell. Although I didn't predict where it would. They're just beating each other with random implements. And then Brian Kendrick emerges from a blanket on top of the cage. And he beats some of them up. And then after beating somebody up on Fortune, he sits cross-legged on top of the cage and just starts meditating. And then Tommy Dreamer hits the top rope, Death Valley Driver, and wins. And so, you know, of course, the stupidest thing you could possibly do with Fortune is give him a clean win. Or, stupidest thing you can do with EV2 is give him a clean win. So they did. The saddest thing I noted in this match was that there was actually some poor bastard in the crowd wearing an EV2 shirt and thinking it was really, really cool. Oh, I'm forgetting something. What am I forgetting? Oh, Monsters Balls. Yes, the Monsters Balls match between Rob Van Dam and Abyss. This was okay. Oh, I remember. I'm gonna catch heat for this, but I'm just gonna say it. Rob Van Dam sucks. Right now, he sucks. He has no idea what he's doing. He doesn't. All right. Let me put it to you this way. Hypothetical. I will hypothesize you through this. Okay. You're Rob Van Dam. Put the bong down. You're Rob Van Dam. Abyss tried to murder you with a board with nails pounded through it. He almost succeeded. He beat you with his board to the point that you were hospitalized for a month, to the point where you could no longer defend your title, so you were stripped of the World Heavyweight Championship, and he is continuing to abuse people. Now, you're Rob Van Dam. You have a chance for redemption at Abyss. You'd probably go to the arena with a fucking shotgun and kill a motherfucker. But let's say you live by some bizarre code of honor, the code of wrestlers, and you wanted to beat him up. You wanted to beat him as bad as he beat you. Logical? Yes. Okay. So, during the course of this match, Rob, on many, many occasions, would have Abyss beaten. He would have him in the middle of the ring with a weapon in hand, or he'd knock the weapon out of Abyss's hand and beat him. On several occasions, he would stop, look at the crowd, and go, "Rob Van Dam!" And of every single time he did that, whenever he pointed his fucking thumbs at himself, Abyss got up and regained the advantage. The first time, he knocks him outside over the top rope to the floor, where he could have easily gotten a weapon and continued pounding on Abyss. But no. He stops, he looks at the crowd, "Rob Van Dam!" And then, of course, Abyss gets up, grabs him by the legs, and pulls him outside the ring. Second time. I believe he had Abyss down there. Like they took a long time to set up like tables and boards with barbed wire on them. They set them up between the ring apron and the guardrail, and they did this several times. So Abyss, Rob knocks Abyss into the corner. He slumps in the corner, and he puts a chair over Abyss. And Abyss, of course, helpfully holds the chair in front of his own face because he's going to do the coast to coast Van Terminator. He's gonna jump from one corner to the corner, drop kick the chair into Abyss's face. He does this. So Abyss is holding the chair in front of his face. He's slumped in the corner. Rob takes forever to climb to the top rope, and once he's on the top rope, he looks around and he goes, "Rob Van Dam!" And the whole time he's doing this, Abyss not only gets to his feet, he grabs the chair, crosses the distance between him and Rob, and hurls the chair into Rob's face, sending Rob flying over the top rope through a barbed wire board on the outside of the ring. Second time, Rob Van Dam, boom! Idiot! Fucking idiot! Third time, he's set up for the 5-star frog splash. Okay? Abyss is down. He's dead. Rob climbs to the top rope, looks around. "Ah, man, damn!" Abyss moves out of the way of the 5-star frog splash. Rob is hurt. Had he not pointed his fucking thumbs at himself, he would have hit the 5-star frog splash and won. Rob, the man tried to kill you with a board. Why are you pointing your fucking thumbs at yourself? My brother raised an excellent point on this one. Steve Austin and Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon didn't even do half the shit that Abyss did to Rob Van Dam. But Steve Austin, he cost him the title. He had him beaten up on numerous occasions. He was doing the whole corporate thing, but Austin wanted to fucking kill him. St. Valentine's Day Massacre, I believe it was the pay-per-view. Steve Austin beat the piss, and then went beyond beating the piss out of Vince McMahon. He kicked the everlasting shit out of that man in a cage match. He never once, stopped in the middle of that match. Like, when he was about to hit the stunner, he flipped him off, but that was like a second. He didn't, he didn't stop in the middle of the match and go up to the top rope and be like, yeah! He wanted to fucking kill Vince McMahon. Steve Austin fucking knew what he was doing. Rob, what the fuck are you doing, Rob? I know that's your thing. I know it's your thing to point your thumbs at yourself, but Jesus Christ, man. Do you have no inkling as your character motivations at all? Are you that out of it that you don't realize that in any sensible person's position where a man tried to murder you with a board, maybe things are a little more serious than to point your fucking thumbs at yourself on numerous occasions. And let's just ignore that. Let's just forget that. A big fucking thing to forget. Big fucking thing. But after the second time, you have this beast. You have this monster. After twice, you point your fucking thumbs at yourself. He gets up because of your hesitation and beats the shit out of you. You'd think on the third time you had the impulse to point your thumbs at yourself. You'd be like, maybe not. Maybe giving this guy room to breathe is not what I should be fucking doing. Now, I know. In ECW, he pointed his fucking thumbs at himself that was what he did, okay? I get that. But he was a heel back then. He was basically a heel. He was a cocky smartass, didn't give a shit heel. He was a showboat. He didn't care. But when the guy tries to kill you, you think you leave the showboating behind. Guess not. That's so, it's stuff like that fucking pisses me. And I knew he'd do it. I knew, when Rob comes out, he's all bouncing around going, Rob, wee! You suck, Rob. Fucking get a clue. You're a great athlete. But you suck, man. Nobody... This is all so stupid that you need to sell the threat here. The guy almost killed you. You have to, make it look like it bothered you slightly. Rob, it's almost like Rob just took a vacation and he came back and everything's cool. And I thought they were doing something like that when he threatened to quit unless he got to fight Abyss. He was serious now. But no, he's... I'm breezing through this. So, last match. And this is where, actually, I'm not going to breeze through this because this was how This was a great match. It was good. You had 3 good wrestlers wrestling. And I knew, like I said, I played this out in my head. I was like, we're going to have a really good match, and then Eric Bischoff's going to come out. And sure enough, they had a really good match, and then Eric Bischoff came out. And Eric's got a chair. And of course, through the entire time, I don't know why, but this was the first time we ever saw this in the match. During the world title match, we kept cutting back to Dixie. And Dixie's in the audience. And she's like, fucking Dixie. Why does she care? Why does she care? Why? It's a title. Okay, I understand, he's the representative of your... Whoever's going to win this is going to be the representative of your company. Maybe you're there because you care about Kurt Angle retiring. That might have been good to mention. But why do they show Dixie now and not during the Monsters Balls match with Abyss? Now, if you missed Impact, this is a silly question. You're like, well, why would Dixie care? I'll tell you why Dixie cares. Because last week on Impact, Abyss held her hostage with the nail board. I'm not kidding. That show kicked off with Abyss holding Dixie Carter, the president of the company, hostage. had her in the, like, dragged her bodily through the impact zone with, like, the board, I keep saying bar, the board with nails in it, like, at her throat, and a branding iron. Like, I'm gonna, like, they told me to do it, they prophesized, like, just crazy shit. But, like, the president of the company, hostage. You'd think Dixie would want to watch this, especially since Dixie basically came down from the mountain and said, after that, Abyss is fired. Like she told Eric Bischoff to fire Abyss. Pardon me. It's that Coke Zero. So, like, but no, they don't show Dixie during the Abyss match, even though, like, he basically tried to kill her. No. So, but now they show it because she cares about this world title match. So, Eric comes out, Eric Bischoff. He's got a chair. And he, like, everyone's down in the ring. Everybody. Like, they've all beat the shit out of each other so much that they're all down. So Eric's got a chair. And he's looking around. And everyone knows this. Like, seriously, the crowd not at all surprised. Like, they're just like, oh, it's Eric. He's turning heel now. So he gets in the ring. And he's holding the chair up like he's going to hit somebody. And he doesn't. So then Hulk Hogan's music hits, and Hulk Hogan is on crutches because he's had back surgeries. Oh, I forgot I'll get to this. I forgot the other match, the match I don't care about, Sting and Nash and the Pope versus Samoa Joe and Jeff Jarrett. But yeah, this actually ties into it, so I'll loop back. So Hulk Hogan comes out on crutches, and it actually looks like Hulk Hogan has no idea how to walk on crutches because I walked on crutches for like a month. Actually, probably near 4 or 5 weeks. But he comes out, and he's mad. Hulk Hogan, he's pointing at Eric like, I knew you'd do this, brother. I knew it. And Eric's like, oh, shit. Oh, shit. And, like, he's trying to beg off. He puts the chair, he's like, I did, Hulk Hogan, I didn't know what he's begging. He's being a complete coward. And here's where I don't get what happened. Hulk Hogan very gingerly gets in the ring. He's got his crutches. And he crutches over to Eric. He's pointing his finger. He's like, brother, I knew it, brother. And then he hands Eric a crutch. And then he steps back. And then he holds his own crutch out. And then Eric holds his crutch out. Like they're about to have a sword fight. Like they're about... he hands him a crutch and backs off, and then both hold their crutches at the ready like they're about to duel. And then Jeff Hardy gets in the ring. And Hulk, Jeff points at Eric, and he's like, let me do that. And so Hulk Hogan hands the crutch over to Jeff Hardy, and then Jeff and Eric Bischoff square off like they're about to sword fight. And then the other wrestlers get up, and Jeff Hardy hits, like, Kurt Angle, hits one of them with a crutch, and Eric takes out the other one. And so Jeff Hardy turns heel, and then, of course, Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan, they're smiling all big, and they're like, we're heels now. And then Jeff Jarrett and Abyss come out, and they're like Abyss is all, they're here, and Jeff Jarrett's all heel. And this ties back to the match, the match that I skipped. This was a really bad match, where basically what happened is Sting and Kevin Nash had a really shitty match with Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe fought the entire match, and when he finally went to make the tag to Jeff Jarrett jumped off the apron, abandoned Joe, and walked off. Because Jeff's a heel now. He's with they. That was the match. So, you now have the heel faction. They is Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, Jeff Hardy, because... You know what I think it is? I honestly think it's because it makes the least sense. I know a lot of people are down on, Steve Austin. I know a lot of people were down on Steve Austin's heel turn. When I loved it. I loved Steve Austin's heel turn when it was building towards WrestleMania. The double turn, Austin and Rock, actually, where Rock became face and Austin became heel. I loved that turn. Because they had interviews where Austin was like, this is my last chance. Like, if I can't be champion, I don't know what I'll do. Like, like he says, I have to win this match. There's no other option for me. I have to do it. And so Austin gets in the ring and he sells out to Vince McMahon because he's old. He knows he's old. He's got a bad neck. He knows he's got a bad neck. And he knows the only way he's going to win the title, the only way he can beat The Rock, he threw everything he had at The Rock, the only way he could possibly beat him was to side with Vince McMahon. And that was the heel turn. I was like, that's brilliant. That was a great heel turn. So they pretty much had a great way for Kurt Angle to turn heel, where Kurt, he's hurt, he's in the twilight of his career, he says he's going to retire if he doesn't win. He's taken Jeff Hardy to the limit, hit Jeff Hardy with everything he could on numerous occasions. He's gone to 2 draws, double pin with Jeff Hardy. He's gone the distance with this guy. You'd think this would be the time when Kurt Angle would finally realize, I don't have it anymore. I can't beat Jeff Hardy. I have to sell out. Like, this is the only way I can continue doing what I love is to side with Eric Bischoff, who to have this thing handed to me. It has to be done. So, like, I was like, I was going, the way they should do this is to have Kurt Angle turn heel. The way they did do it was have Jeff Hardy turn heel. For no reason. So, again, your heel faction, Hulk, Eric, Jeff, Abyss, and Jeff Jarrett. Tremble in fear, all ye who lay eyes on this heel faction. Can the assembled armies of the world possibly oppose Hulk Hogan, Eric, Abyss, Jeff, and Jeff? Okay, any group with 2 Jeffs in it, I automatically chalk up as being a complete joke. So, here's where I start bitching about how little sense this makes. Hey, my bro's here. Go on in. I'm bitching about the final match at Bound for Glory, the heel faction. Here's where I bitch about how it doesn't make... I almost don't want to bitch about how much it doesn't make sense, because you know. But let's just try to piece together the timeline here. Let's just try to make a little bit of sense of this. Okay, so let's just... This is a lot of assumptions to make now that I think about it, but okay. Dixie Carter signs Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff to help administrate the company somehow. Okay, so Hulk Hogan hires Rob Van Dam and puts him in position for a title match against, I believe it was Abyss. Yeah. So, I think it was. Rob Van Dam beats Abyss for the title. Now, I don't know if Abyss was working for they at some point, but that seems a weird thing to do to Abyss, considering he's one of you, but... So, Rob wins the title. Everyone, Hulk and Eric celebrate with Rob winning the title, which seems strange in hindsight. Why would they be so happy? I don't know. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I'm actually kind of losing track of... Already I'm losing track of this shit. Rob has to next defend his title against Sting. So Rob has a title match at a pay-per-view against Sting, in which Jeff Jarrett comes out and costs Sting the match, allowing Rob to retain, which is strange considering Jeff is a heel. I don't know. So then Abyss gets the ring from Hulk Hogan, the Hall of Fame ring, which gives Abyss powers. But at some point, I believe Abyss fails to win the title from Rob. So Abyss turns heel, attacks Hulk Hogan. Again, a strange thing to do considering Abyss worships Hulk Hogan. Shoves the ring down Hulk's throat. And then goes on a systematic campaign against Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff. And then beats up the world champion. Again, the world champion that Hulk Hogan hired. Beats him up so badly that Rob has to vacate the title. So, now, Eric Bischoff announces a tournament, or both of them announce a tournament that puts Jeff Hardy, the guy who's with them, puts Jeff Hardy in a tournament, and then proceeds to completely step back and not help Jeff in any way. What do I mean by that? Okay, well, they gave Jeff an entry into the tournament. Okay, that's a big help. They completely invalidate the top 10 contender ranking system. Okay, that's a big help. But at no point during that tournament did they ever help Jeff Hardy. Assuming this was all a labyrinthine, Byzantine scheme to get Jeff Hardy the title, you'd think they would have helped him at some point. No. Jeff Hardy won his matches clean, and there's no way, no fucking way, they could have possibly done anything to set it up so that Jeff Hardy and Kurt Angle would first go to a time limit draw, then go to another time limit draw, then another, and then stop the match due to blood loss. I guess you could say that Eric Bischoff manipulated the system to give Jeff Hardy the draw due to blood loss, because it saved him from tapping out to the ankle lock. I guess you could say that. Maybe. But if that were true, why didn't Eric just declare it a time limit draw? Like after the 20 minutes, he could have been like, well, nothing I can do. It's a time limit draw. So I guess both of you pass. Because that's basically what they did, was they said, oh, well, the cut over Kurt's eye is too deep. It's a draw, so both of you go through. Even though the stoppage due to blood loss, the stoppage due to the cut over the eye, was a perfect real-life example of how you stop a match and award Kurt Angle the loss, allowing Jeff Hardy to continue through to the finals. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you were trying to set up Jeff Hardy, if you were trying to do Jeff a favor, you'd think he could have gone in the ring and been like, Kurt, the cut over your eye is too deep, it's bleeding too much. I'm sorry, you lose by doctor stoppage. Because that's how it works in real life. There's no way that Eric Bischoff could have set it up to where the rematch, when Dixie Carter set up a rematch saying, we're going to find a winner, Kurt and Jeff have to wrestle again. There's no way he could have set it up to where Kurt and Jeff go to a double pin. That was just luck. That was pure luck. Kurt could have easily won that match. But did you see Eric come out and help? No. So, it's a triple threat at the pay-per-view. Did anyone come out and help Jeff when he was eating Olympic slams? Did anyone come out and help Jeff when he was eating the mic check? No. It had to come down when everyone was down. Eric Bischoff came out with a chair for no reason. Like, seriously, it's the worst. If you were Jeff Hardy, they're the worst help ever. Like, you were just in two God-forsaken, brutal matches with Kurt Angle, who they didn't help you at fucking all. They didn't help at all. And, like, at the pay-per-view, you'd think they'd help out some way, like, I don't even know how, like, but some way where they'd finally just come out and help. Like, what the fuck were they doing? Like, what was Eric doing this whole time? Just biding his time until the end of the match? Like at risking Jeff Hardy not winning the belt? Like, what the fuck? Honestly, it makes no sense. I don't even know what they're trying to go for here. Like, it's like, if you were Jeff, you'd be fucking pissed. Like, where were you guys? Weren't you gonna help? Like, and why would they even give Rob Van Dam the belt in the first place? Rob Van Dam would not have even won the belt had it not been for Hulk and Eric. Why would they not just put Jeff Hardy in the world title picture if they were trying to set him up? Why would they not try to orchestrate this in a much more straightforward fashion? Why would they not just fucking screw the current world champion? Why would they give Abyss a world title shot? Why would they just not put... why would they organize a plan wherein they would publicly disgrace and then set Abyss on some kind of warpath against the very people that he was working for? Why would Jeff Jarrett string Samoa Joe along for so long? Why would, if he was working for them, why would he set up Samoa Joe to be beat? I don't know. And here's the other thing. Here's what kills me about this whole, okay, let's just roll with the fact that, okay, we got this new heel group. Where does that leave Kevin Nash, who I believe has not signed with the company? I believe it's his last day. I believe the pay-per-view was his last match. Where does that leave the conspiracy theorist group of Sting, Kevin Nash, and the Pope, who this whole time were right, who were saying that this whole time Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff, they have a pattern. They fucked over WCW. They're gonna fuck over this company too. Well, they were right. This whole time they were right. And like I said, I knew this whole plan was gonna go this way. But where does that leave these guys? For months, for 3 months now, these guys have been coming out, acting like assholes, coming into the ring and being like, "You fucking sheep. You don't even know. You're too stupid to know, and you're gonna see that Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff are gonna fuck you just like they fucked WCW, because they've been saying this, but they've been saying it just like I've been saying it, you fucking idiots. Don't you know?" And being all mysterious about it, being all vague and cryptic, and beating up baby faces for no reason. And why would Jeff Jarrett why would Jeff Jarrett help Sting win a match when Sting basically put Jeff on the shelf for months by beating him up with a baseball bat and dislocating his shoulder or something? I believe it was a shoulder separation with the baseball bat. Why would he help Sting? So now what do you do with these guys? What do you do with Sting and the Pope? Are they going to come out this week on Impact and be like, "We fucking told ya! We told ya!" Did you listen to us? No! Are they, because that's the way they've set it up now, because they're heels. They're gonna come out and act the same way, "We told you, shadow politics and smoke and mirrors, and we warned you." Is the crowd gonna react to that? Is the crowd gonna be like, "Yay! You told us and you're smug about it"? No, they're gonna be like, "Fuck you! Why didn't you tell us this before? Why didn't you just come out and just rationally explain this? Why did you fucking steal the world title belt from Rob Van Dam, who, by the way, had nothing to do with the conspiracy?" Sting stole the belt from Rob, and he spray painted the word deception on it. He was all, "Deception, ooh." Again, this was a great chance for Rob Van Dam to turn heel, considering he was the guy who Hulk Hogan brought in to do this shit. You could have said that he was the setup champion. No, of course not, because Jeff Hardy has to be a surprise. But, now you got these smug assholes going to go in the ring, act smug, that they told us that, and they're right, but, the crowd's going to cheer this? No. They're going to be like, "Okay, the Hulk Hogan faction are assholes, you're assholes, we officially have nobody to cheer for." Because not only that, the Sting and Kevin Nash and the Pope beat up Samoa Joe. So even though it turns out Sting and Kevin Nash and the Pope were good guys, they still beat up Samoa Joe. I don't know why. I thought apparently Samoa Joe's a good guy. Apparently the other three guys are good guys. Why are they fighting? I don't know. It's dumb. If you think about this for even a second, it doesn't make any sense. And now, I don't know what they do with Kurt Angle. And this isn't the kind of good confusion, I don't know how they're going to do this. I can't wait to see next week. I can't wait to see how they resolve this. What the fuck do they do with Kurt Angle? Do they just retire the motherfucker? wow, that's a waste. What an end to his career. Like, what a way to end Kurt Angle's fucking career with that shit. Like, they completely overshadow a great match. A match that could have just been a great send-off to his career, which I don't think it is. I think he signed for another year. So what do they do? Like, does he go back on his retirement thing? Even though he's lost numerous matches already. He lost against Abyss in a cage match. Did he retire? No. What do they do with this motherfucker? Like, do they ever take... How do you ever take the retirement shit seriously? Ever. Like, Ric Flair, WWE retires. He's not retired. Kurt Angle apparently lost his retirement match here. Is he going to retire? Probably not. Team 3D gets in the middle of the ring saying they're retiring. But they're not. So none of this... Like... The honest to God, I can't think of a better way to make a crowd not care about anything you do, anything you say. They're not going to believe it. Because like, even the writers don't take this shit seriously. They don't care. It's stupid. It's beyond stupid. And honestly, I'm getting worked up over it now, but when I saw Bound for Glory, I just watched that and I was like, yeah, that's pretty much what I thought. And I was like, that's why I didn't want to get in front of the camera for this. I was like, what am I going to tell you? Like, I pretty much called it right down the line. Because I did. It was dumb. Oh my God, it was dumb. Okay, so, next week we're going to see a whole... you know what? I do want to see this next week, because I can't wait to see what they fucking do with Sting and the Pope. Because the crowd reaction, they are going to be so fucking confused. They're going to come out, and the crowd's going to be like, they're assholes, but they're right. I don't even know. Like, wow. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. I probably rambled on for an hour and a half, but if you've rode with me for this long... Yeah, one more thing. Bound for Glory is meant to be like the flag. It's meant to be WrestleMania. It really is supposed to be the WrestleMania. You watch this show, and yet you didn't get any of that. You didn't get any of that big fight feel. You didn't get any of that spectacle feel. For a lot of reasons. You didn't get any of that feel because, one, it's in a really small venue. It didn't feel big. Two, you just knew it was going to be an overbooked mess. Had they just showcased the best wrestlers having really good wrestling matches, this would have been a great show. And when they did wrestle, it was a great show. And then, of course, you had to have Eric, you had to have Hogan, you had to do Sting, and then they had to have this huge fucking angle with all the backstage WCW politics nobody gives a shit about. You had to have fucking Orlando Jordan simulating anal rape and teabagging people in the ring. It hurts. It hurts the show, and it's hurt the show beyond belief. So, yeah, watch Impact, guys. Tweet Dixie. Tell Dixie the show sucks. I can't do this alone. I'm one man. I can make these videos, but she's not watching the videos. The only thing I can hope to do is keep making these videos and trying to raise some kind of public outcry. One can only hope she listens to people. She listens to the fans. She doesn't, but I can only hope that if you fucking just flood her fucking Twitter account and just tell her what sucks. Tell her the show sucks. Tell her what you want. Tell her you want Russo gone. Tell her you want good wrestlers wrestling. Tell her you just want to showcase athleticism and you just don't try so hard, you know. You gotta tell her, because I'm just one guy. You gotta do it. It's the only hope this show has of ever being good again. Have a good one, guys.